Thanks for tuning in to Look at My JPEG, the podcast that discusses NFT, DeFi, and NFT financialization. This is your host, Xerox Jose, the founder of nftperp. The reason why I want to do this podcast is because there's just not enough people talking about NFT financializations. In this podcast, you can expect us to invite guests that are builders, founders, even investors that are deep in the NFT financialization space. We'll discuss their story, what they're building, and how you can get involved. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for coming on. Great to have you here.
Sure thing. The pleasure is mine. Thanks for hosting.
So before we jump into some of the more interesting topics today, love to learn about you guys. Maybe Joe, you specifically, how did you get into crypto? And what was the story of X2Y2?
Sure, yeah. Personally, I first got into crypto when I first heard about crypto in 2017 when I was joining a summer camp. Well, summer camp held by Tim Draper in his university. Tim Draper, he's a billionaire who bought a bunch of Bitcoin from the FBI. I think it was from an auction off Silk Road. And yeah, he's pretty big on Bitcoin, and that's how I heard about Bitcoin. And I didn't really get seriously into crypto until 2021. And unfortunately, at the time, Bitcoin was 64K. So I pretty much entered at the top, like most people. And yeah, that's how I got into crypto, which isn't a very good start, but I stuck to it to this day. And in the process, I discovered X2Y2. So to introduce X2Y2, X2Y2 is both an NFT marketplace as well as a platform for NFT loans that uses a P2P model where we provide a platform and anybody could come to our platform to either act as a borrower or a lender. If you are a borrower, you will come to our platform, and if your NFT is eligible for an NFT loan, you can go to our site and you will find a list of loan offers that are provided by our lenders, and you can pick and choose the loan offers that has the best terms. So, and from that point, you will have to collateralize your NFT, and then the funds will be sent to your address. And it is worth noting that we uses a fixed term loan, which is to say you enter into a loan knowing in advance how long the term of the loan is going to be, say 30 days, 7 days, or 3 days. And you know the terms going, and you know exactly how much you have to pay back. And in the event that you either forget or you fail to pay your loan, your collateralized NFT the lender will have access to your NFT that is collateralized.
Yeah, so it's like a P2P model. Would you say it's relatively similar to NFTFi?
Yeah, very much similar. Yes. Are we going to go into the differentiation here, or will we get into it later?
Yeah, I think maybe we jumped in a little bit early on than I wanted to. I wanted to ask a little bit more about yourself, but I guess what was the moment that, because I've known about X2Y2, I've used it quite a lot actually. What was the moment that made you guys want to pivot from? No, want to pivot? You're still doing NFT marketplace, but what was your decision making process? Like, what was that aha moment that made you guys want to venture into NFT finance when you guys were mostly focusing on the NFT marketplace?
Yeah, great question. We launched as a marketplace in February of 2021. No, actually 2022. And and it was shortly after when Luxrare launched. And I believe it's 2 months after they launched. And we were able to quickly surpass to become a number 2 NFT marketplace in volume, right behind OpenSea by by having a lower fee. I believe at the time it was 0.5%, and OpenSea was charging 2.5%, and Luxrare was 1.5%. And that, in addition to the fact that we were able to provide many features that people want, one of the features being batch listing, which allows people to list a bunch of the NFTs to be sold. And that was crucial at that point because during that time there was a lot of NFT projects that are coming out, and people really like that feature because before batch listing, you had to list your NFTs one by one, and it doesn't make sense when you have when you have a bunch of NFTs that you want to list all at once to dump on the market and exit. That was the meta at the time. I believe it was during the time of Goblin Town. So yeah, by using those two factors, one being lower fees and having features that people want, we were able to quickly become number 2 in NFT marketplace. And that is, of course, before Blur came in. Things changed drastically after their entrance.
Yeah, which undercut by you guys another 0.5%, which is 0%.
Yes. Yep.
But were you guys one of the first ones that is there currently any royalties on X2Y2 for trading NFTs?
Right now, I believe certain collections have their royalties enforced. I'll have to double check on that.
Yeah, but like some of them don't, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Like, do you think it's just a how much of like user experience and features come in play versus like just straight up how much fee you're charging as a platform factors in the growth? Because it sounds to me like well, Blur obviously came out with a great user experience, and the big talking point, at least like pretty early on, is obviously like there's no Blur fee. They to this day they still charge a fee, and there's no royalties, and that seems like in combination with the features, that's where the users went, which is like a more aggressive version than what you guys did.
Yeah, certainly. And they have their Blur token going on too. They incentivize people to list on their platform, and that is another huge factor that drives people to Blur because there's the expectation of an airdrop by using and being loyal to the platform. And personally, I think it's great the way they executed it. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So when did you join X2Y2 personally, and like as you kind of saw all this unfold?
Yeah, I joined X2Y2. First, I joined as a community member. I heard about X2Y2 in one of the spaces where the founder TP it was introducing X2Y2, and it was going to be launched 2 weeks later. And at that point, I joined the community as a member, and then I learned about the project, and then I participated in the ILO, which is the initial liquidity offering, where you put in 1.5 ETH. I believe at the time there was 1,000 slots. You put in 1.5 ETH, and in return you get 15,000 tokens and an NFT for the platform. It's called a GNU Rebels, and yeah, that's how I got into it. And very early member, and from that point, because I was very active, and I was brought up to become a moderator, and from a moderator I became a community manager, and from that point I became a head of operations So yeah, that's where I am today.
Yeah, that's solid, man. That's an OG right there.
Yeah, yeah. That
No, I appreciate that. So then, like, coming back to my question early on, like, what made you guys, decided to explore into the world of NFT finance? Because you guys have certainly made a pretty big splash. I was checking out Dune Dash earlier. Like, when you guys first came out, like, there's a decent amount of volume on X2Y2 loans that were surpassing some of the existing NFT finance, lending protocols out there, being P2P, P2Pool. You guys harness a decent amount of market share. So what was that moment that made you guys want to sort of venture into NFT finance? And how's it going so far? What are the new things you guys are introducing to the markets?
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you brought this out. I was going to talk about it, but then I went off tangent. Yeah, so glad you brought it back. So yeah, the reason we decided to enter into the NFT fi business is because we thought it is a natural evolution, right? Because we have users, we have traders on our platform. They're sitting on a bunch of NFTs, and we want them to trade more. And in order to do that, they will need more liquidity. So we thought it makes sense to allow people to unlock the liquidity from the NFT. And since we already have our youth that are in NFT, then it makes sense for us to develop a NFT finance product for our user. So we thought it goes hand in hand, and Blur, saw the same too. That's what they did.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are a lot of the current users are X2Y2? Like, would you say a decent amount of the people that are lending and borrowing are pre-existing uh, traders on the platform? Or would you say you also have acquired a decent amount of users from there?
Uh, I wouldn't say so. I would. There's actually quite a bit of people who uses both us, our platform, as well as other NFT5 platforms. Um, so yeah, I don't think there's a lot of overlap between. Well, there is certainly an overlap between our users and our users of X2Y2, but we are also seeing a lot of people that aren't active traders on X2Y2, the marketplace.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. The other interesting thing I wanted to ask, since we're talking about other NFT, lending borrowing protocols, like, so how does the X2Y2, do you guys call it X2Y2 Fi or X2Y2 loan? What are you calling it?
X2Y2, yeah, it's just to make life easier. We'll call it
X2 Fi? Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it just sort of differentiate from the other P2P lending and borrowing protocols, like NFTFi or even Blend? There's some interesting ones out there right now. So what is the key difference between you guys and the other platforms?
Yeah, sure. Let's first begin by comparing ourselves to other P2P protocols. I think the main differentiation between us and other protocols is the fact that we are willing to innovate, to try new things. An example is, NFT protection, which is a feature that is catered towards borrowers, because we saw that some of our users, our who borrow against their NFTs, they sometimes they forget to repay their loan, not because they can't afford to, but because they simply forgot for one reason or another. And they came to our community and reflect this. They tell us about their situation. So we thought, yeah, we should do something about it. And that's how we came up with NFT protection, which
I'm sorry to work.
yeah, I think we are the only one that offers this feature at the moment. And the way it works is when an NFT loan is about to expire in 24 hours, this loan will appear in our discovery tab, which allows everybody to look at it, and anybody can choose to protect the NFT, which means you pay off the old loan and finance it with a new one, and in return for that, you will earn a 0.05 ETH. in fees that the borrower will pay to you. So in that,
Uh, is it kind of like refinance?
yes, yeah, it is the same thing. Only, yeah, it is the same, but it is no guarantee because as we saw with the dump in the NFT marketplace, especially
Yeah.
the most noteworthy one being the Azuki elemental incident. We saw a big crash, so there weren't a lot of people out there protecting NFTs, and we saw a lot of default.
Yeah.
So it's not a sure way of protecting an NFT.
That's really interesting. So on X2Y website right now, I can see the Discover tab and I can see NFT protection. There's actually a couple of protection available right now. There's one DGods right now. The repayment is 5.699 ETH, and the floor price is 4.14. So obviously, like, this is probably a loan that's pretty underwater, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I wouldn't want to pay back, and sort of the lender kind of got fucked here, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I think.
Yeah. So, but okay. So, but let's say like a case where there's another one that's it's a kid called Beast. This is one of the newer ones. So the repayment is 0.16 ETH, and the floor price is 0.2. If I'm protecting this loan, like refinancing this, what happens? How much am I putting up as a protection for someone that want to protect it? And the reward is 0.05 ETH. And where does that reward come from?
It comes from the borrower. So you will be, so if you choose to protect the DGOS loan, right, you will have to come up with a 5.699, and then you have to foot the bill because you are using the way it works is you are refinancing it, which is to say you're having a new loan to pay up the old one, and then when the buyer chooses to repay the loan, they will pay the principal plus interest to you in addition to the 0.05 reward.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And the 0.05 reward comes from where again?
The borrower.
From the borrower. Okay, has like an extra in on top of the interest that he's paying.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And is there a way to choose like how long protection goes on in refinancing?
No, not at the moment. At the moment, it's 24 hours before the loan is due by default. We are open to changing the length of the NFT protection. What do you have in mind?
I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, it seems like a pretty decent ARB. Like in 24 hours, if my repayment is going to be less than the floor price, it just makes perfect sense to execute it.
Yeah, what we're thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
Free money. It's free money, right? If there's a big gap between repayment and full price.
Yes, absolutely. Which could be unfair to the original lender, right? That's what we heard from our lenders, because they thought, if I finance this loan, I should get first dibs on the protection, right? So we have so we changed the rule to allow the original lender for the first 15 minutes to protect the NFT loan.
Oh, okay, got it. You got first dibs, basically.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So, do the lender, I mean, the borrower get back anything if there's a because like on some platforms when it comes to liquidations, they would try to some platforms do like a bid, right, like an auction, and any auction premium that's over the debt will go back to either like protocol takes a cut on it, but some of it goes back to the borrower. So there's like a little bit left on your collateral type of situation for those that get liquidated. In your case, does any of that go to the borrower?
No, because when the borrower fails to repay, right, they just walk away from the loan, and the lender gets hold of the NFT, and they can choose whether to hold it or to sell it, and they get the entire proceed.
That's interesting. So like in theory, right? Like if a settlement is requiring this amount of repayment and the NFT price is still higher than repayment, in theory, like, if I do a flash loan and I can do this all payback in one transaction as a borrower and get my NFT back, right? Is that also a scenario that could play out?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Mhm.
I really like how you guys detail oriented with your platform as well with regards to the UX. I think both on the borrow and the lending side, it's really nicely presented. I would actually just kind of prefer your platform in terms of the loans UX. I feel like it's a lot more detailed compared to Blur, which is pretty cool.
Cool, thanks.
Just a little side comment. Yeah.
Yeah. To follow up on your question, which is your question was how are we different from Blur, right? With Blur, when you take a loan, the lender, it is more friendly towards lender in that lender can always recall the loan and you have to pay back your principal. I think there's a 3-day grace period. You have to pay up or else you lose your collateral. Whereas in our case, it is a fixed term loan, so you know exactly how long your loan is good for and how much you will have to pay back.
Yeah. It's more sensible. I think if someone is borrowing a specific amount of ETH for a DeFi strategy that only over a certain period of time could become profitable, if the underlying debt mortgage rate is adjustable and really uncertain, it makes that strategy pretty risky. So I totally understand. Like from a borrower's perspective, you want certainty, you want like calculated risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
your question was how are we different, right? So NFT protection being one, and another one is batch borrow slash repay slash batch refinance. And this is also another feature that I think we only provide at the moment because we also notice that there's a lot of whales who are borrowing against their NFT. And the way it currently works is they have to, repay them one by one, which is very time consuming. Whereas, so we saw this demand, saw this need, and so we came up with batch borrow, batch repay, and batch refinance, which allows our whale borrowers to to mass execute, to max at all at once to save their time. And yeah, so far I think our users are loving this feature.
So what does that mean? Like, does that mean like I put a bunch of NFTs in a bundle and I make a big lending offer to it, or I accept a big lending offer of a bunch of NFTs together? Like, how does that work?
Great question. Great question. So yeah, it is not a bundle. It is not a bundle. The way it works is, say if you borrowed against 10 NFTs, right? You have 10 DeGods and you borrowed against all 10 of them, and you come to our platform and you want to refinance all of them. The way it works is the UI will show all 10 of your DeGods, and then you can go by them one by one. You click on DeGod number one, and it's gonna show you all the available loan offers, or I should say refinance options. And then you can just go one by one. DeGods one, you choose the loan offer that you like for that DeGod one, and then you go to DeGod two, and then you choose another loan offer that you think is appropriate, and then you just go down the list. When you're done, you can just click a button, and hopefully your loan offer is still available. If it's still, it'll get through all at once. So it's not a bundle.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. But it's just like a nicer UX, right? You can kind of click through everything, add everything to cart, and then check out kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Is there anything else that you highlight as well with regards to the features on X2Y2, X2Y2?
Yeah. So this whole question was coming from how are we different, right? And my answer was because we is that we innovate and try new things. Another way we do that is ERC20. This is a feature that we rolled out 2 months back. I think 1 month back, and it didn't see a lot of traction, to be honest. But it was
ERC,
yes, ERC20 loans.
what does that mean?
Yeah, let me explain. So ERC20 loans is essentially you know how if you have ETH, you can go to major DeFi platforms and borrow against your ETH and get stable coins, right?
Yes.
We saw the need for other altcoins or shitcoins, let's say Pepe or Shiba tokens. If you're a holder of these Shiba tokens, you can go to major DeFi platforms and borrow against them. And so all you could do when you own this token is to just hold it and wait for it to go up, right? So we saw this
Yeah.
demand, and there's a lot of holders of these tokens. Like there's just a lot of them. And so we thought we should allow people to bundle up their shitcoins and borrow and allow them to mint an NFT from it that represents their underlying token amount, right? And we have different tiers, right? We have different tiers, so it's not random. So let's say if for Shiba tokens, right, we have 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. So we have different tiers, and you can come to our site and mint. Say if you want to mint a 50 million Shiba token NFT, you can do so, and you just deposit 50 million of your Shiba tokens, and in return you get your NFT, and then you can borrow against your NFT that represents 50 million Shiba tokens.
Oh my God. That's great. This is so good. Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh, this is great. Okay, but it's P2P, right? So it's Oracle-less. You don't even want to price it. There's no like potential manipulations and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. The lender bears the risks. You have to you have to know your shit going in, or else because it's a P2P.
Oh, this is great. I mean, okay, so who? Okay, so where do I mint this? Is this live right now? Like, are you guys? Did you guys still keep it even the traction wasn't there? How do I do this right now if I wanted to?
Unfortunately, we brought it down this week. I think last week.
Okay.
Yeah, because we didn't see a lot of traction. The thing is, at the time of the launch, all the altcoins were going down, so you don't have a lot of lenders that are willing to take the risk. And
Okay.
and there's also the problem of marketing this feature, right? We noticed that there isn't a lot of overlap between ERC20 traders and NFT users. So there's a huge gap. There isn't a lot.
Yeah.
So this is something that we came across, and it was very hard to market this feature of ours to people who also hold these tokens.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, there's like ERC20 NFTs out there too, right? Like, if you think about NFTX, or even like Caviar, both of those platforms are um they have like fungible NFTs, like fractions of NFTs. And like, is there a world where you can see these type of fractions being used as collateral to take out a loan on your platform?
That is very interesting. I think that is certainly a possibility that we can explore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should tell the team about it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. If you want, I can link you guys up with Caviar and NFTX. We're both pretty close to those teams.
Wonderful.
Um,
Please do.
yeah. And then like on the other thing, with regards to lending and borrowing, is it always NFTs in terms of the collateral type? Like, can people put down um like stablecoin as collateral or ETH as collateral for other type of loans?
No, unfortunately, not at the moment. We only support NFT at this time. And
Okay.
yeah, even with ERC20 loans, they first have to mint an NFT out of it. I think that's part of the problem also, because there's so much hoops and loops people have to jump through in order to borrow
Yeah.
their shit coins, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very, very interesting. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have any docs on this or any any public repo that we can take a look at? Like, I know you took it down, but would definitely love to explore a little bit, like how actually that worked.
Yeah, we have a Medium article about it. You can,
Okay.
yeah, you can check it out. I can send it to you.
I'll definitely check out the article after the Twitter space. Um. Okay. Thanks for kind of covering what X2Y is all about. Um. What's next for you guys? Like, what are the current things are in development you guys are focusing on? You're excited about releasing. Are you guys running any specific like user acquisition programs, referrals? Love to know a little bit more about like the upcoming plans.
Sure thing. Yeah, in regards to the things that we are currently developing, we recently just rolled out USDC loans, which allow people to borrow against their NFTs and for USDC instead of ETH. So well, it goes both ways. Lenders can also make loan offers in USDCs if they are afraid of the ETH volatility. And that's another thing that we just recently uh, rolled out, because we noticed that there's a lot of lenders out there that are willing to make their money work for them, but they don't like the ETH volatility. So we enabled NFT loans for USDC loans, and we just rolled it out this week. So
Yeah.
yeah, and in regards to the other things that we are also in that are in the pipeline, we are also thinking of allowing our borrowers to come to our platform and see all their loans that are currently running. So if you have, if you have two, let's say you have 5 NFTs that you're borrowing against, and 3 of them are in different platforms, and you only have 2 on X2Y2. So this feature allows you to go to
Hey Joe, I think we lost you.
we call it we are having we're thinking about how to call this feature. It is not exactly aggregated because we are actually working with other aggregators as well. Um, so yeah, so we at the moment we call it borrow aggregating, which allows
That's quite interesting. Yeah. Is when do you guys hope to roll this out?
in the coming weeks.
Okay. Super exciting. I think we're gonna start to see a lot of convergence between protocols with regards to lending and borrowing. There's like a couple of lending and borrowing platforms that are doing aggregations like AAA.finance. There's like Skillet.
Yes.
There's a couple of really good ones out
Yeah.
there, and a lot of these platforms are converging, just like aggregators for marketplaces are converging liquidity and sort of putting everything in one place. So I'm excited to see this trend keep happening, and hopefully at some point nftperp gets included in the aggregation.
Yeah, we should. We're also working with Lens as well. I'm glad that you brought up aggregators, because we are actually working very closely with them. Because we do not plan to become an aggregator ourselves. Because there's so much more that these aggregators that you mentioned do, right? AAA, Lens, Skillet, they do a lot of things, and we're working very closely with them. We don't see ourselves, as an aggregator. We work very closely with them to on the back end, and we see all of that in what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. We should get one of those guys on a Twitter space sometime soon. Okay. Anything else that maybe you want to share with regards to like up and coming plans for X2Y2 and anything that I missed?
Yeah. There's 2 more things that I want to mention in terms of the things that we're working on. We're also working on buy now, pay later. This is a feature that you can already do on Blur. We are planning to roll that out as well. The difference being that on Blur, well, first let me explain what buy now pay later is. Essentially, it allows you to buy an NFT for a fraction of the price. And currently on Blur, you can do that, but you're subjected to the lender in that they can recall the loan and you have to foot the bill, or else you lose your NFT. Whereas with our BNPL, we are our model will allow a fixed term where you know how much you have to pay, in this duration, and so it affords more certainty with our BNPL. More details to be released, and
Okay.
yeah, and another thing that we're working on is a point system, which which I believe NFT is already doing this as well as other NFT finance platforms. Essentially, this is a loyalty program that we are building. It essentially allows lenders and borrowers to accumulate points based on their activity on our site, and we have a lot of interesting things that we have in mind for these points that can be used for.
That's great. I think points seems to be essential if you're in a pretty competitive market to acquire, a little more user and then retain them. So excited to see you guys carrying that out as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for coming on to look at my JPEG and answer all our questions. I think I learned a lot today with regards to X2Y. Love the protections you guys have for borrowers. I think that really sets you guys apart from the rest of the field. And also, super interested to learn more about the shitcoin lending borrowing mechanism that you introduced us to on the call. Um, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. We're super excited to
Do you
maybe talk to you again in the coming months as well.
do you mind if I talk about our ambassadorship?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, apologies. Feel free to, yeah. Job.
Sure thing. Yeah. So right now we have a ambassadorship program going on, which essentially is a referral program. You can We are sharing our revenue with people who refer new borrowers to our platform who take out a loan. Specifically, we are you can go to our Twitter page and it is pinned. You can find more details there. Essentially, we are giving 20% of our fees that we collect with you if you successfully referred a new borrower on our platform. And there's no limit to how much fee you can collect. Let's say if you invited a whale borrower and he borrowed a bunch of NFTs and incurred a lot of fees, it is actually a passive income for you. And we are planning to it is actually we are running it for a year. So if you are able to to find people and they come to our platform and take out loans and they stay, it is actually very lucrative and it adds up very quickly. And the way I see this is because so far since our launch, we have generated over $1 million in interest for our lenders. And of that, it can actually be very substantial if you sign up with our ambassadorship and take a share of the revenue. So yeah, I highly encourage the listeners to check out our ambassadorship and sign up.
Amazing. Yeah. Do let us know if you have like a Twitter thread or any Medium article with that. I'll post it on this Twitter space thread as well so people can follow up on this.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you coming on and we're really excited about continue to keep our conversation open with you guys and kind of really push NFT finance forward together as an ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And will you be in Singapore?
I will not be in Singapore, unfortunately. Most of our team members are either in Europe or in America.
Got
I recently I have a 2.5 month, almost 3 months old baby.
Congrats.
Actually, yeah, she's turning 3 months old tomorrow. So not much traveling on my side for now. But look forward to next year. I'll be able to travel, go around again, maybe hitting up conferences.
Fantastic. If anybody who's listening is attending, I will be there in Singapore, and I'll be wearing an X2Y2 t-shirt. So yeah, feel free to chat.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, have a great rest of your evening. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.